Welcome back to Joy Recovery Radio, where we're dedicated to helping couples find healing and hope after sexual infidelity and betrayal trauma. We share real stories, practical strategies, and deep insights to support you on both sides of this difficult journey. We truly believe this message can change lives, and you can help us reach more people by engaging with our content. Wherever you listen, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, please hit that follow or subscribe button. A quick like and a 5-star review also goes a long way, helping others discover our community when they need it most. Ready? Let's dive into today's episode.
So today we're going to talk about empathy. Empathy is the most important skill that we betrayers can develop if we want to help our partners heal. The fact that we betrayed our partners provides ample evidence that we have a gross lack of empathy. In other words, if we had had empathy, we never would have done to them what we did. So we feel like a deep dive into empathy would be really helpful. In this episode, we're going to cover 4 things. Number 1, what is empathy exactly? Number 2, what are the barriers that we men face in becoming empathic? And thirdly, what are the 5 levels of empathy and what impact does each level have on our partners? And finally, how can we grow more empathic? How do we move up those 5 levels? Let's talk for a moment about the nature of empathy. Empathy could be defined as an accurate understanding of someone's world as seen from the inside. To sense another person's private world as if it were our own, but without losing our own perspective at the time. In other words, it's to climb into someone else's skin and walk around in it, and to sense their reality. Here's the problem. We are by nature self-oriented. We don't normally see things from another person's point of view. To see their perspective doesn't come easily for us. We are typically too preoccupied with our own frame of reference. But once we understand what empathy means, we can relatively easily assume, at least temporarily, someone else's point of view. And it seems the capacity for empathy is present in the overwhelming majority of the population. There are very few humans who are incapable of being empathic. But it is difficult to persist in this frame of reference because it's not our usual perception from day to day. In other words, we can easily pop out of the internal into the external frame of reference. And it does take considerable effort and practice and time to overcome these habits of self-focus. When it comes to empathy, it normally involves at least 3 aspects or 3 stages, you could say. And all of this is with the assumption that your partner is willing to allow you into her private world and that she attempts to communicate her perceptions, her feelings, and her reality to you. With that assumption, here are 3 things you must do. Number 1, you must be able to receive that communication from her without any reactivity. Our reactivity derails empathy. Number 2, we must be able to understand what she's communicating by making her private world our own world and seeing things from inside her skin. And number 3, we've got to close the loop. We've got to be able to communicate our understanding of her reality back to her so that she feels seen, validated, known, and understood. One of the biggest barriers we face to empathy is the differences that we perceive between us and others. This was highlighted by a remarkable landmark study that was done in Italy. It was a study on vicarious touch. And this is an empathic phenomenon where when we observe someone else being touched on their cheek, it can actually activate in an empathic way the same sensory areas in our brain as if we were being touched ourselves on our cheek. This research was conducted by the behavioral scientist named Serino in Italy. The research involved politically active participants who were categorized as either liberal or conservative, the two main political parties in Italy. The stimuli that they used for this study were that the research participants were giving a very mild sub-tactile stimulation on their cheek with an electrical device that was just barely perceptible, barely strong enough for them to feel. Yet at the same time, they were shown images of well-known political leaders that were having their own cheeks touched. And these participants were placed into groups. The faces shown belonged either to the participants' own political party or to the opposing party. Here was the fascinating result. The participants were significantly more likely to feel the tactile stimulus on their own cheek when they were simultaneously viewing a person from their own political party being touched on the face. The effect was significantly much weaker when they saw a member of the opposing party being touched on the cheek. This finding suggests that our brain's ability to embody someone else's experience, in this case, a simple touch, is stronger for people that we perceive as being, quote, like us. In other words, here's the practical application. When you see someone as different or other rather than similar or the same as you have a harder time empathizing with that person. You're black, I'm white. You're male, I'm female. You're young, I'm old. You're a betrayed partner, I am an addict. When we begin to draw circles around ourselves and we see the other as outside of that circle, we can actually have a harder time with our brain embodying their experience or taking on their perspective. We've got to train our brain to see the other person as more like us than different from us. This is with the understanding that no one can completely 100% understand another person. For example, no man will ever fully understand what it is like to be a woman. No white person will ever fully understand the reality of being a black person. However, studies show that it is not necessary to be exactly like another person, but we need to have had similar experiences or similar emotions so that we can understand one another. Maybe we have never been betrayed before, but we probably can understand what it feels like to be rejected. And from that reference point, we can begin to empathize with a betrayed partner. We can understand to some extent with another person and what they're going through simply on the basis of our commonalities in being fellow humans. If you're really trying to understand your partner, and let's say you get it right 50% of the time, as you're beginning to learn empathy, you will more often than not still be a help rather than a hindrance to her healing. Because the effort means a lot. It sure is better than giving up or not even trying. This kind of passivity or apathy or indifference is incredibly harmful to your partner. If you show effort to understand her, even when you get it wrong, she will often match your effort to help you better understand. Today, we're going to talk about a tool called the Carkhuff Empathy Scale. It is a tool used to measure and evaluate the level of empathy in therapeutic settings. What I find helpful about this is, no, we betrayers, we are not counselors and we are not therapists, but wouldn't it be helpful to use that same measurement? Because our goal is the same as a therapist, and that is to help provide healing and to help provide understanding for our partners. The Carkhuff Empathy Scale was developed by Robert R. Carkhuff, and it is a systematic approach that outlines 5 different levels, providing a framework to assess the depth and the effectiveness of a person's empathy towards another person. The scale moves from a minimal or non-empathetic response at the very lowest level to a deeply understanding and facilitative and healing level at the highest. Let's look at Carkhuff's scale, beginning with level 1. This level is called missing the mark. This is when a betrayer communicates no awareness of even the most obvious expressed feelings of the betrayed. He is either checked out, or he's bored, or perhaps he himself is dysregulated. He has shut down, or he's uninterested, or he is simply operating from a preconceived frame of reference. This level does not provide any healing for the betrayed partner. In fact, it causes further damage and further harm. What does it sound like? This level of missing the mark sounds like ignoring or dismissing her feelings, or perhaps changing the subject. Or at this level, this is when you give unwanted, unsolicited advice to your partner. Or even worse, you take her pain and you make it about yourself. Here's an example. When the betrayed partner says, "I feel so betrayed, and I don't know if I'll ever trust you again." And the betrayer at level 1 says this, "You're bringing this up again? You need to move on. Quit being so stuck in the past." That's level 1, missing the mark. Let's look at level 2. Let's call this level surface acknowledgement. You're not missing the mark. And the betrayer communicates some awareness of the most obvious feelings of the betrayed partner, but his communication of that distorts the meaning. He communicates his ideas of what may be going on, but these are way off from the expressions that are coming from the betrayed partner. He seems to be responding to something other than what she actually expressed. This level, just like the first level, does not provide healing. In fact, it causes further harm to the betrayed partner. She still does not feel understood, validated, or heard or seen. Here's what it sounds like at level 2. It's acknowledging only the most obvious emotions, but yet minimizing her feelings, or intellectualizing her experience. Or this is where we use cliches or platitudes in a non-empathic way. Here's an example. Once again, the betrayed partner says, "I feel so betrayed, and I don't know if I will ever trust you again." And at level 2, the betrayer says, "I can see that you're upset, but time heals all wounds." The result is she feels completely invalidated. This provides no healing.
At joy-recovery.com, we offer personalized recovery coaching to help you move from pain to purpose. We also provide supportive groups where you can connect with others who truly understand. So, whether you're battling addiction, healing from betrayal, or rebuilding a brand new relationship, you're not alone. We can help. Go to joy-recovery.com today.
Level 3 is called accurate reflection or mirroring. This is where his expressions are essentially interchangeable with the expressions of the betrayed partner. He is responding with accurate understanding of the most obvious surface emotions of the betrayed partner, but he's not responding, or he is misinterpreting the deeper feelings. He is not subtracting or adding to the basic expressions of the betrayed partner. He is not responding to how the betrayed partner feels underneath the surface. This level is the minimum level of empathy needed to avoid causing additional harm like the first two levels, and to begin to facilitate at least a little bit of healing. Here's what it sounds like at level 3. You are now accurately mirroring the feelings that she stated. You are demonstrating that you really are listening. You are staying present with her experience, and you're not making it about you. You're not getting defensive, and you're not shutting down. And you are validating her experience. Here's an example of what it looks like at level 3. The betrayed partner says, I feel so betrayed, and I don't know if I'll ever trust you again. And at level 3, the betrayer says, you're feeling deeply betrayed, and you're questioning whether trust can ever be established again between us. He's accurately parroting back to her what she said. Now we move on to level 4. This is called deeper understanding. This is where the responses of the betrayer add noticeably to the expressions of the betrayed partner in such a way that it expresses a level deeper than the obvious or surface feelings and emotions. This facilitates the betrayed partner being able to express feelings that she was not able to express before in the previous levels. This level can facilitate an increased capacity for healing for the betrayed partner. What does this level sound like? It is adding insight to what she has expressed. It's beginning to identify some of the underlying emotions. It's making meaningful connections for the betrayed partner. And it's demonstrating a deeper level of understanding of her experience and her reality. An example of level 4 might look like this. Once again, the betrayed partner says the same thing. She says, I feel so betrayed, and I don't know if I'll ever trust you again. But at level 4, the betrayer says, it sounds like beyond feeling betrayed, there's also fear about the future. You're wondering if you'll ever feel safe in our relationship again. And this must feel very isolating and uncertain for you. Now let's look at the highest level, level 5. This is what we call deep empathic connection. Now the betrayer's responses are adding significantly to the feeling and meaning of the expressions of the betrayed partner. He accurately expresses feelings that are much deeper than what the betrayed partner has expressed. He is now fully present, and he's 100% engaged with her. And she has decided to now self-explore with him some of her even deeper emotions. He is attuned to her, and she senses it. She knows it. Therefore, she now feels safe to proceed with him to explore even deeper areas of her pain that she has not explored before. This level is the deepest form of empathy, and it promotes the deepest healing for her. What does it sound like? At this level, he's able to identify core themes and meanings. He's able to connect her present feelings to larger patterns that she's gone through. He's able to articulate what she is struggling to express herself. And he communicates profound understanding of her reality. An example of level 5 might look like this. Once again, the betrayed partner says, "I feel so betrayed, and I don't know if I'll ever trust you again." At level 5, the betrayer might say, "I hear that this betrayal has shaken your fundamental sense of safety in our relationship. You're facing the painful question of whether risking your heart again with me is even possible. It seems like you're caught between wanting to believe in us and protecting yourself from even more pain." So let's talk about the movement from low levels of empathy to high levels of empathy. We're talking about the ability to allow yourself to experience or even merge with the experience of your partner. It's the ability to reflect on that experience while suspending all of your own judgments. It's the ability to manage your own anxiety, your own defense mechanisms, your own shame or reactivity while showing up for her. It's the ability to communicate your understanding to your partner in a way where she feels validated. At very low levels, the betrayer is responding with his own feelings and his own perceptions. He is not actually in her frame of reference. He's still stuck in his own self-reference. And he may be evaluating her and judging her behavior. Therefore, he starts to react with suggestions or advice. He tries to fix it, or he uses cliches. Or even worse, he allows himself to get dysregulated, defensive, to lash out at his partner or to shut down and avoid her. The benefit of this Carkhuff skill is that it helps us recognize, number one, where are we currently at with our responses? And number two, what do more effective responses look like? And three, how do we steadily improve our empathy skills? And this skill directly supports her healing, and it provides authentic communication. So let's talk about some key principles for moving up the scale. All of us want to go to a higher level because we want to facilitate the healing of our partner. So here are some ideas and principles. In order to improve your empathy and your empathic communication, we've got to first listen fully before we form any response. Number two, we've got to focus on her feelings, not just the facts. Number three, and this could be really difficult, we've got to stay and persist with her experience, not our experience. 4, we look beyond the obvious emotions that she's expressing. Number 5, we validate her without trying to fix her. Number 6, we check and confirm our understanding. We say things like, am I getting this right? Have I missed anything? Do you feel understood? And number 7, we adjust how we're showing up based on her response to us. Now, there are some common barriers to moving up to the higher levels of the skill. Here are some things that will keep you stuck at the lower levels, especially level 1 and 2, where you're not able to provide healing that's necessary for your partner. Number 1, if you are experiencing discomfort with the intensity of her emotions, you're going to struggle. Number 2, if you're gripped with fear that you're going to say the wrong thing, then you're not going to have the courage to at least try and take the risk. Number 3, if you rush too quickly to problem solve or to fix things, the masculine mind is usually very quick to problem solve. This is not the setting for that. Number 4, if we go into defensiveness when we hear some of her painful truths that she expresses to us. Number 5, if we get stuck in our own shame, in our own emotions, that literally prevents us from taking on her perspective. Number 6, if your emotional vocabulary is too limited to where you can't adequately express back to her what you're perceiving her emotions to be. And finally, if we have such a gripping concern about making things worse, we'll be paralyzed with fear. So let's look at a practice exercise of trying to move up a level on the scale. Take these level 1 and 2 responses and see if you can reformulate them to a level 3, or even better, a level 4. Take this one, for example. Here's a level 1 response from a betrayer. Quote, "Everybody makes mistakes. You just need to get over it." What would be an improved way of saying that is actually at a level 3 or a level 4? It could look something like this. Instead of dismissing her and saying, "Everyone makes mistakes, you just need to get over it," you could say, "I hear you saying that you're struggling to move past something that I did to you, and it's causing you pain today." Let's look at another example. Here's a level 2 example. This is slightly better than the previous example, but this still is not going to provide any healing for her. It's when you say something like this, quote, "I know you're upset, but listen, I already apologized." How could we improve on that to a level 3? Here's what a level 3 might look like for that. Quote, "I can hear that you're feeling upset, and it's difficult for you to let this go. You're still holding and carrying a lot of pain from this." Or even better, here's a level 4 example. "It seems to me that it feels like the apology that I gave you did not address your profound disappointment or your intense hurt that you're still feeling today." So let me give you some practical steps to apply this Carkhuff skill in real-time conversations with your partner. Here's some steps. Number 1, make a mental note at what level your natural response usually is. And then 2, pause and challenge yourself to move up one level. Especially focus on moving from level 2 to level 3, because that's where the healing begins. But don't stop there. Practice formulating level 4 responses, especially when you're in a low stress situation. Remember, level 5 develops with time and practice. You can get there, but it's going to take a while. Don't aim for perfection right out of the gate. Improvement is your goal. Move up the levels systematically. There are some incredible benefits if you can move up to the higher levels of the empathy scale. Here's some things that you could experience. Number 1, your partner now feels truly seen, understood, and heard. That is so healing for her. Number 2, the defensive reactions decrease on both sides of the conversation. Number 3, your emotional safety increases in these conversations. Number 4, you're now creating a psychological environment where deeper issues can be identified and addressed more effectively. Number 5, trust is being rebuilt in the coupleship through genuine connection. Number 6, your own emotional awareness now begins to expand. You're becoming more self-aware, not just empathic. And finally, healing is now accelerated for both of you. Her, you, and that third entity, the coupleship. So let's just summarize what we've talked about today. Number 1, Empathic communication is a skill that improves with practice. So keep practicing. Number 2, even small improvements can make a significant difference in your relationship. Number 3, it is absolutely essential that you move from level 2 to level 3. That is the most critical step for you to take. Number 4, authentic connection happens when we truly understand before we respond to our partners. Number 5, your ability to offer empathy is directly related to your own emotional awareness. And finally, each empathic exchange that you have with your partner builds the foundation for relationship healing. I hope you find this helpful today as you try to help your partners heal. Until next time, choose joy.
That wraps up another episode of Joy Recovery Radio. We hope our conversation today brought you clarity, comfort, or a new perspective on your journey. Remember, healing is possible, and you don't have to walk this path alone. To learn more about how we can support you, visit us at joy-recovery.com. There, you'll find information about our individual and couples coaching practice, designed to provide tailored support for both addicts and betrayed partners. You can also explore our various online groups, offering safe and confidential spaces for connection, shared experience, and growth. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, choose joy.